Let's talk about journaling for a minute because I've had quite a few questions about it over the last few days. My journaling practice, when I just started journaling about 15 years ago, my journaling practice did not look the way that it looks now. Back then, my life was in a shambles. It didn't look like that on the outside. On the inside, on the outside it looked pretty good. It looked pretty well put together, but on the inside of me particularly, it felt like my life was in a shambles. And because of me not feeling as if I could talk to anyone in my life about the truth of what I was feeling. I just didn't feel like I could do it because it felt like how I was feeling felt too explosive to share with anyone, right? If I had told anybody about it, it could have just like exploded my life. If I had shared the truth of the depth of my misery, it could have exploded my life, and I was scared for that to happen. So I just kept it all inside, which led to me needing to talk about it sometimes. And because I couldn't talk about it out loud, I started journaling. Okay, so I started to write what I was feeling as prayers to God, because they were prayers. I was asking him to save me, to change me, to make me happy, to make my circumstances feel better. Like, those were the kinds of things I was asking him, and those were the kinds of things I was writing in my journal, right? And it wasn't consistent. It was just when the pressure felt like it built up so much that it had to come out somehow, it had to be released somehow, that I would write in my journal. So it was sporadic. So that was like about 15 years ago when I just started. Then my whole life imploded about 10 years ago, just over 10 years at this point. My whole life kind of imploded, and I became more consistent with my journaling because it felt like so much was happening. Like, a lot was going on inside of me. God was changing a lot, and most of the people in my life could not or would not have been able to understand what I was going through, except for one person. But she was not, like, I couldn't be like talking to her 24/7, right? I couldn't talk to her all day every day. I couldn't even talk to her every other day. It just wasn't practical. She knew what I was going through, but I couldn't, like, it was not all the time I could talk to her. So my journaling became more consistent and more intense because I had a lot that I was processing, and God was doing a lot in me. He was changing a lot in me, and as stuff was changing, like, I was just writing a lot, my thoughts and feelings about things, right? And then probably, so that was more consistent than when I just started, but not every day. I wasn't journaling every day. And then probably about 5 years ago, I got more consistent with it because I got to a point where I was intentionally beginning to learn to take full responsibility for my emotional life. I was no longer interested in outsourcing my emotional well-being to anyone. Like, giving away my emotional power to anybody else to say, you make me this or you make me that. Like, I was Xing those things out of my vocabulary. And as part of that, as part of my emotional growth and maturity and taking responsibility for my emotional life, I started to get very intentional about noticing my thoughts and my feelings, my emotions and my thoughts that were causing those emotions. And so I started to write those a lot because writing it helped me to understand the connection between my thoughts and feelings, and so on, right? And so I started to be more consistent with that because I would wake up in the morning and one of the first things I would ask myself every morning, I just got into the habit of asking myself, what am I thinking and what am I feeling? What do I want to think and what do I want to feel? So I was kind of getting into that habit, and it's that was actually where daily consistency started. At some point, I'm not really sure when, I'd have to go back in my journals to see, I kind of stepped away from asking myself those questions and moved back into my journaling time becoming me and God talking, like, well, mostly me pouring out to God whatever was in my heart when I woke up in the morning, right? Which is what it is today, which is what my journaling practice is today. It is me just spending a little time seeing what's top of mind for me today. How am I feeling today, and just like talking to God about it. What's bothering me? What am I grateful for? Whatever it is that's on my mind. Sometimes it is me working through a problem, trying to come up with a solution, or just like pressing into God for a solution or something like that. Sometimes it's me asking him questions about something. I'm like, that I'm curious about an answer for. Sometimes it's just me saying, Lord, thank you so much for an amazing night of sleep, because I don't take that for granted ever. I know too many people who struggle to have a good night of sleep for me to take my good sleep for granted. So sometimes my journaling now is half a page, sometimes it is pages long. It depends on what's going on. It depends on what is top of mind. Sometimes there's no problems. It's not that there's any problems, but I still journal, because it's not about whether it's a good day or a bad day. It's just about, it's today, what's going on today, right? So I just write whatever it is that comes up for me. And my journaling helps me to untangle my thoughts a lot. I can tend towards overthinking if I'm not careful, and just get into, all kind of nutty messes thinking about things, and sometimes getting into just loops of thinking. As I write, it helps me to untangle whatever, if there's some mess in my mind. Sometimes it helps me to see just see clearer into what's actually going on in my brain. So I still I still journal in prayers. It always starts with good morning, God, and then I go on and I talk, and I'm talking directly to him. I talk to him, right? It's not me recording what happened in my day. My journal is not a diary for me to record what happened in my day or anything like that. I'm talking about what's going on, what I'm feeling about it, what I'm thinking about it. If nothing is going on, just generally, what am I thinking and what am I feeling, or what am I grateful for? All right, so all of that to say, some of you have reached out to me to say that you wish you could journal. You want to journal and you wish you could. We all wish we could do a lot of things, but you will do it if you want to, okay? I will say that it might feel very uncomfortable at first. It might feel hard, but it's because you're just not used to it yet. Like anything else that you're learning, it will feel a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit difficult until you get used to it. My journaling now is just a part of how I live. It does not take any effort. It used to take effort for me, and really, honestly, probably didn't really used to take a lot of effort for me, because it came from a place of desperation, right? I started journaling because I had to get things out and had no other way of getting them out. And then it kind of just developed from there. But journaling is a habit. It's just like anything else that we do in life. It's a habit. So if you want to do it, you can allow it to become a habit in your life. You just have to stick through the days when it feels hard. Those first, days, and probably even weeks or months when it just feels hard. And you just need to manage your expectations of what it should look like. You may think that you have to journal pages and pages. You don't. You may think that you have to have like something hard going on in your life. If you have nothing hard going on, there's nothing to talk about. That's not true. You don't have to put any expectations on it. Just let it be what it is for you. Your journal might look completely different from mine. Doesn't matter. You know what though? I'm so glad I journal, because these journals have become they're like gold to me. The books I write now, the podcast that I publish, the blog posts I write, the articles I write, the content I put out, a lot of it comes from me being able to go back to my journals and sink again into or connect again with what I was thinking and feeling as I was going through some things or going through some specific thing, right? These journals have my questions to God, sometimes questions, sometimes requests, but sometimes just questions of curiosity where I'm asking something that I'm not clear on. And they have answers to my prayers. I look back in my journal sometimes and I see miracles unfolding that I didn't notice when they were unfolding. And I'm so glad I recorded it because I would not have been able to go back and be grateful. Be like extra grateful for the miracle that unfolded that I didn't take note of at the time, but had, because of my my consistency in journaling, I wrote it down. I can look back now and say, oh my goodness, you know what that meant? And marvel over it and just be like, feel gratitude all again. So if you want to start a journaling practice, just start. Let it develop. It doesn't have to be one way, there's no one right way to do it. It will be whatever you want it to be. You can make it develop. You can allow it to develop into whatever it develops into. My journaling time now is precious to me. It's one of the first things I do before I interact with the world. I interact with God in different ways, and one of them is through my journals, is through my journaling practice. And now it's just a part of how I live my life. The only days when I don't journal is if I'm on a plane when the day begins. Like if I'm on some kind of overnight flight or something, I don't journal. Although my journal is in my backpack with me, I don't pack that away into checked luggage. My journal is always in my backpack with me. But I don't know. I have not been into journaling on airplanes yet. Not because I'm afraid anybody will see anything. But I think just because like my mind goes, I get very focused. I can't, like, there are no distractions around and so on. I think it's probably just the environment is just not right for me. But those are the only days when I don't journal. Other than that, it's such an essential part of how I live now that it feels weird if I don't if I don't write something, just a few lines maybe. So if you want to get into a journaling practice, I have a feeling that if you allow it to develop into a habit, and if you allow it to become consistent, you will reap many benefits and many rewards from it. So I'd say go for it.